Hi everyone, welcome back. So I recently put up a video about the 52 pieces of makeup that I want to finish off this year, and I showed you what they all are. And I was editing that video and I was thinking to myself, hang on, if I did finish off all of those bits of makeup, what would I be left with? What would my collection look like? What kind of a collection would I have left? And I thought, oh, why didn't I put that on at the end of that video where I showed you what those items are? So that is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you what my collection would look like if I used up every single piece of makeup on that list of 52 products. So yeah, these are the makeup items that I would have left if I was to use up all 52 products. So this is what I would be left with then if I used up all 52 pieces of makeup that I said that I want to use up this year. My collection at the start of the year was 92 products in total. Since then, I've used up 7 bits of makeup, I've decluttered 2 bits, and I've sold 1 bit of makeup. So my collection is currently at 82 products, but these are the products that I would be left with if I did use up those 52 items that I wanted to, and I would be left with 39 bits of makeup here. So it does still look like there's a decent amount of makeup here, and I've tried to kind of separate them into their categories. So I've got some eyes here, these are like base and cheek products, and then I've got just a couple bits of eyes here as well, and some lip products. So I am still left with a decent amount of product, and enough products to not get bored with. So I'll talk you through the products that I would be left with then. We'll go in order of my inventory. So primers, I would be left with 2 primers. So these 2 are the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which are my favourite primers. I think actually I might just use these as moisturisers this year, because they are basically a moisturiser, but I just use them as a primer. And also this would save me from having to buy another moisturiser, and helps me kind of use these up as well. So I think maybe by the end of the year I'll be done with these as well. So I should be left with no primers in my collection, or 1 if I use up all of them, and then that means that I'm allowed to buy another primer because I'm on the replacement only no buy. But anyway, let's just go with what was on the list. So 2 primers. Next would be foundations. I would be left with 2 of them. This is a skin tint by Sculpted by Amy, a Hydra tint. I love this. This is such a beautiful lightweight product, and this has got 2 years shelf life, so this would still be fine into 2025. And then I've got my unopened Merit, the Minimalist stick, the Perfecting Complexion Skin stick. So 2 primers, 2 foundations. I will be left with 1 under eye corrector as well. This is by Bobbi Brown. This is a corrector in light bisque, I want to say. Yes, light bisque. Love this. I always have to have a colour corrector as part of my makeup routine. I wouldn't have any concealers left. I only have 1 concealer in my collection, and I said that I wanted to use that one up this year. I will be able to do that. There's not much product left in it. I'm having to kind of scrape the sides of the tube. But I will want a concealer in my collection. So once I've used it up, I will buy myself another concealer. So that's why there are no here, but I would buy myself one. Powders, I would be left with 2. 1 loose and 1 compact powder. So my loose one would be my mini Givenchy Prisme powder with a little powder puff. I need to clean it, I'm not going to show you that. And then you have the 4 different colours, and I've got mine in the shade 2. This is a lovely powder, and it's great that it's a mini as well, so I can take that on my holiday with me next month. And then I'll be left as well with a MAC powder, the Mineralised Skin Finish in Natural. This is quite big though, so I think this one would actually take quite a while to use up. I would be left with no setting sprays. I have used up the setting spray on my list that I said that I wanted to use up. I have gone a little while without a setting spray to see if I actually need one or not, but I do, and I've ordered one, and it did arrive this morning, so there is a setting spray in my collection. Okay, cheeks, bronzers, I would be left with 2. I said that I want to use up 1 this year. The first one that I would be left with is by Merit. This is in the shade Quince, and it's the stick bronzer. I'm not going to open it for you though. I'm only going to open this once I've used up my Revolution cream bronzer, which shouldn't be too much longer. And then I'd also be left as well with my Vive bronzer. This is in the shade Light, Light 1 and Light 2, but this is very much out of date, so I will need to start working on that one once I've used up the bronzer in my Vive quad. Blushes, I want to use up 2 this year, so I would be left with 3. I'd be left with 2 Vive ones. This one is in the shade Piazza. It's like a sunburnt kind of dark terracotta shade. Lovely for the summer and also for autumn as well. And then this is like a year-round shade for me. This is Pesca, also by Vive. And then I would also be left with a Merit one as well. This is in the shade Terracotta. It's one of the blush balms. You can see the shade through it, which is nice. But again, I'm not going to open that yet until I'm ready to use it. I wouldn't be left with any highlighters, but I'm not a big highlighter fan, so I'm fine with that. Wouldn't be left with any contours as well. I don't feel like I need a contour as part of my makeup collection, so I don't think I would replace my contours. And face palettes, I would be left with one. It's my new one that I got end of last year. It's by Hourglass. It's the Ambient Lighting palette with one bronzer, one highlighter, one finishing powder and 3 blushes. This is so beautiful. Eyes, I wouldn't be left with any eyeshadow primer, but I would be left with a glitter primer. This is by NYX. This is the glitter primer. I don't use this though. I say that I like to use this under shimmery eyeshadow, which I do, but I don't do that often because I don't feel like I need to do that. And this is very much out of date, so I'm actually contemplating just throwing this away because it's out of date and because I don't use it. So this one might not even be in my collection next year because it just doesn't really get used. Eyeshadow singles, I would hopefully be left with 3. There are 3 that I want to use up this year. First one is by Lisa Eldridge. This is in the shade Madrigal. This is a warm olive kind of green shade, a little bit of like gold and yellow in there as well. I would have my mini Giorgio Armani eye tint. This is in a rose gold shade. And I'd also be left as well with my Merit Solo Eyeshadow in the shade Mid-Century, which is a warm brown, I think. Again, I'm not going to open this one yet until I'm ready to use it because it also has a 6-month shelf life, so it doesn't last for too long. I'd also be left with an eyeshadow duo by NARS. This is in the shade Isolde. I have Pan in both shades. I do want to use this one up though, so I think this will be my focus eyeshadow palette duo for next year, but I think that would be so easy to use up. And then I would have one eyeshadow palette left, which is by Vive. It's the Essentials palette. I was contemplating passing this on to somebody because I don't know if I would want to stick to singles after using up a lot of my eyeshadow this year. I love the colours in this. It's my kind of colour story. The shimmers aren't the best though. The shimmers are kind of tricky to work with, but the mattes, they're beautiful. They're really pigmented, easy to build up, great to blend. It's so buttery, the texture. It's really, really beautiful. And also I don't use those 2 as well, so I just use these 8 eyeshadows. So I don't know whether I want to keep this or not. I'm not sure. I think once I use up certain shades as part of my Panos eyeshadow palettes, I'll then start using the similar shades in here, so like this matte ivory. So we'll see. I'm still on the fence with that one. I've got these 2 loose eyeshadow pigments from Peaches and Cream, one in the shade Gatsby and one in Peached. They are stunning. They're so beautiful to really elevate an eyeshadow look, but I rarely wear them, so I'm also thinking about decluttering these, passing them on to somebody else because I'm not really getting my use out of them. I love my eyeshadow when I do use them, but I don't use them very often. So these are another 2 that I'm kind of like, shall I declutter those along with that eyeshadow glitter primer? I don't know. So these 3 might be gone by the end of the year. The only eyeliner I would be left with would be this little gel one from Bobbi Brown. This is in the shade Chocolate Shimmer Ink. It is quite dark though. It is kind of like verging on black. I hope it would be a bit more of a true brown, but it's not. So that would be my only eyeliner. I wouldn't have any eyeliner pencils left. I also wouldn't have any brow or mascara products left here, but I love brow products, I love mascara, so I would have one of each in my collection after using up the ones that I do have. Lips, I would be left with a lot of lip products, a decent variety of colours and textures. Wouldn't be left with any tinted lip balms. Ideally I would have used up all 4 of my Rhode tinted lip balms. I would be left with 2 lip pencils. This is Chicory, my orange red from MAC, and then this is my Russet liner from House of Colour in the shade Russet. The reason that I think that I won't use these up this year is because I don't wear red or rust coloured lips that often. I'm much more of like a nude kind of person, so my browns and pinks are a lot easier to use up. If I were to use up all of the lipsticks that I said that I want to use up this year, I would be left with single digit numbers for my lipsticks. I would be left with 9 Firstly, this MAC one, which is Smoked Almond. This is like a great everyday pinky brown warm neutral. 3 of my Merit ones. This is my newest one, which is Tiger, which is a kind of neutral brown. I've then got 2 reds, and I don't need more reds in my collection. I need to remind myself that. This is Aperitif, which is more of like that traditional neutral red that anybody can wear. And then I've got a slightly warmer red, which is Carbo, which I love. And the texture of Merit lipsticks are great as well, because they're fairly sheer, so you can go for like a barely there lip look, or you can build up the pigment, and they're really comfortable. I'd have 2 Lisa Eldridge ones. This one is in the shade Je ne sais quoi, so it's like a pinky coral, but quite pink heavy. This one I haven't used yet, and I don't want to use yet until I use up a few of my lipsticks. This is Kitten Mischief. This looks stunning. This looks like a great everyday peachy brown shade. Looking forward to wearing that, but I need to hold off until I've used up other lipsticks first. I'll also be left with 3 House of Colour ones. This one I think is my Rust colour, so I would go with one of my Rust lip liners. This is my Coral lipstick. I'll put it next to the Lisa Eldridge one actually. The Coral one is a lot brighter, so a lot more of that traditional coral, whereas Je ne sais quoi is more of like a toned down coral which has more pink in it. And then this is my summery one, which is True Terracotta. This is like an orange, so if I want to go for a bright orange colour in the summer, that's what I would wear. So those would be my lipsticks. So a good kind of selection of brighter lipsticks. I wouldn't really have anything too nude apart from Kitten Mischief, but I'm not going to swatch that for you because I don't want to open it. And then the last product that I would be left with would be 6 lip glosses. So all 5 of my House of Colour ones. So Copper. This is a coral one, this is Soft Apricot, this is a bright warm red, and that's a Rust one. And then I would also be left as well with my Merit lip gloss, which is in the shade Au Naturel, so like the name suggests, a very natural pinky brown coloured lipstick. So I do want to try to hold off from opening this lip gloss rather, until I've used up the 2 that I want to use up this year, and also I think the peach one. I think this would be my next lipstick to use up because I can see the wand here through the tube. So yeah, I would be left with quite a good selection of makeup products, and there are other products here that I would then start to want to use up. Like I say, that peach lip gloss, this NARS eyeshadow duo. Maybe then I would work on using up Kitten Mischief because I feel like that would be like an everyday lip colour. I think the 2 primers would probably be gone by the end of this year. And then also these 3 products here. But then next year I would work on using up, say, the Sculpted by Amy tint. I would then probably use this mini eyeshadow as well. So yeah, a good selection of products that I'm left with. I don't feel like I'm kind of lacking in anything here, apart from, like I say, you know, the brow product and a mascara, but I would just buy those anyway because I like to have those. So yeah, that is what I would be left with. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever it is you are doing, and I'll see you again very soon for my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.